What's up, everybody? Today I want to talk about a movie that you probably didn't know existed. I didn't know about it, and I basically live at the movie theater, but it's one that you should catch on streaming or on VOD whenever it comes out for those. Let's dive into Trap House. I want to get my review started with the cast because that was definitely the strong suit. In my opinion, they truly put together a nice group here for this movie. First, you've got Tony Dalton as a cartel boss. He might have had, I don't know, 10 minutes of screen time, probably a bit more than that, but the point is, he did not have a ton, and still, he's the best part of this movie. I never knew I needed to see him as a Hefe, but god damn was it incredible, and I might just have to go back to Better Call Saul, where don't get me wrong, I love Breaking Bad. That's one of the best shows of all time. But for Better Call Saul, I've tried watching it 4 times, never made it through season 1, and now I feel like I gotta make it through season 1 so that I can get to the Lalo Salamanca seasons. Getting back to this movie and this cast, though, you've got the 4 kids of the agents, and that's Jack Champion, Sophia Lillis, Zaire Adams, and Whitney Peak. When they get going on their Robin Hood act, the movie really picks up, and it's 100% because of them. Their chemistry is great, and they really reminded me of a young version of Lucas, Anna, Sugar, and Job from the show Banshee. It's a real fun dynamic. They were better than their parents in the movie too, outside of Dave Bautista. He was good, he always is, and he's just, he's stuck in this limbo of delivering good or great performances in mid to shitty movies for the most part. It's a damn shame, and here, he had Bobby Cannavale giving a spark in some scenes, but for the most part, he was on his own with the agency. That part of the cast was rather disappointing. Then I've got one more shout out for the cast. I thought Inde Navarrete was damn good at concealing the truth about her character, not being the niece of a cartel boss, the daughter of his sister, but being part of the organization herself and the plot too. I always liked when she was carrying the kids side of Superman and Lois the show, and nothing changed here. She was great. With that being said, I want to shift to this story that was so promising. I thought this was a fascinating concept when I saw the synopsis. It just struggles to be consistent. Right off the bat, it reminded me of those My Spy movies that Dave Bautista did for Amazon Prime Video, and if you haven't seen those movies, let me save you some time. That is not an ideal start, but it does turn around quickly with the cartel intro and all the chaos that comes with that, from the sniper to the quick erase tunnels. That opening, where an agent's life was lost, brings us to the kids, and one of them losing their dad is actually quite the compelling reason for the kids to start their own rogue DEA branch. They're also trying to keep their friend, the one who's only got one parent now, in their hometown, so that's another solid piece. The only problem with the concept is that you then have to walk a very, very fine line about how crazy and exciting their Robin Hood acts are going to be, and keeping those same missions reasonable, or as reasonable as possible at the same time. I use reasonable very loosely too, by the way, but for the most part, they stayed on that line. It kind of ended up being a non factor. Then, as I said before, I thought the spin of the daughter being in on the cartel operations was solid. You know she's the daughter immediately, but it definitely felt like, at least to me, they were going to do the typical innocent kid shtick, and I'm so glad that I guessed wrong in this case. The reveal, it definitely made me look back on some scenes in a more positive light. It also set up a mixed bag of a finale as the parents and the kids collide to save the day. They come out on top, their friend moves back, 2 cartel bosses are down, and they survive most importantly, but the youngest of that cartel family survives too, and as much as I enjoyed Inday's performance, and as much fun as I had with this movie, I don't know if I want a sequel they absolutely set up with the final scene. As far as the action's concerned, I was shocked by how good it was. Now, it's not great or game changing for that matter, but it's like a solid, maybe a 7 out of 10, and I was expecting it to be much worse than that. It starts strong with that shootout that I mentioned before, and the explosions down in the tunnels, and to take that from, the agents barely surviving to losing one of the family group, it really hit hard. There was also the kids' first raid, which wasn't great, but I was relieved that it was sloppy. It fits with walking that fine line, and they keep that for their second mission too. It's not until the third where shit really gets crazy and they start looking, semi competent. But like I said, it was good that they had a natural progression for their missions. It makes everything that much more believable. On top of that, the finale in the warehouse is epic despite my disdain for the sequel setup. You've got agents rappelling into the warehouse from the skylight as the fighting starts, Jack Champion's bomb fake out before they get there, and you've got the gas station explosion fresh in your mind, so you're not sure if the whole warehouse is about to go up in flames, and then some tension down in the tunnels to cap things off. They did an adequate job smoothing things out down the stretch on this bumpy ride. Then, real quick, before I wrap things up, I want to touch on the visuals and the score from the movie. With the visuals, they're passable. They do some cool stuff with reflections in the middle of it, and they utilize some interesting angles throughout the movie, but there was nothing too fancy, nothing that, jumped off the screen for me. Same goes for the score. It fits like a glove, but it never, takes over the movie like a Hans Zimmer score or a John Williams score or a Michael Giacchino score or a Kevin Kiner score will. At the end of the day, Trap House was a lot better than I expected it to be. My pessimistic side came out big time with the worry of how the kids would get involved in these missions, but again, they did a great job shutting my concerns down. It's a fun popcorn movie. Just keep, one of the lights on in your brain, turn the rest of them off, and have a good time. At least I think you'll have a good time with the movie. I'd say for me, it was a fun 6 out of 10. And so that's going to do it for my review of Trap House. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. And either way, make sure you have a great day.